So today's video is focused on planter tanks for beginners who are wanting to get into the hobby and start a little low-tech planter tank for themselves, like this 10-gallon here. So we're going to go over my 5 top tips on how to keep and create a nice little planter tank like this one. Going over some pretty interesting topics like lighting, substrate, your choice of aquatic plants, filtration, and a few other things. So let's get it going. Alright, so if you're fairly new into planted tanks or you're thinking about getting into planted aquariums, this video is going to be perfect for you. As I've only been growing plants and keeping aquariums like this one that you see here for about a year now. As you can probably tell from the page, I keep and breed African cichlids, and that's my main focus, but I found myself trying to get into nature aquariums, and this is how this kind of arose. So today I thought I'd give you my 5 top tips for beginners on planted tanks, so that maybe some of the subscribers that are here for African cichlids can maybe start a little planter tank. Honestly, you might not get the same coloration as in African cichlids, but the feeling of peace and having that little slice of nature in your home with the growing plants and everything is just really, really relaxing. So with that being said, let's get into tip number 1, which in my personal opinion is lighting. As I'm sure many of you know, plants in nature use the sun to help them photosynthesize and grow. In the aquarium, they obviously need something similar, and that's where either fluorescent lighting or LED lighting comes in. On this specific tank, I chose to use LED lighting, and it's really been growing the plants nicely, giving the plants both white light and red light, enabling them to photosynthesize and grow. So that's the first thing you want to think about when you're getting a planted aquarium is lighting. All I did was check on Amazon, check planter tank forums for recommendations for this size of tank and what lighting works good. This is an Aster 20. I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to check it out, but there's tons of lights on the market. The Finex Stingray, the Finex 24/7, the Fluval 3.0 that Aquarium Co-op's been pushing a lot recently, and all those lights I'm sure would work great. But be mindful and always take into account the depth of your tank, as that will change the specific lighting option that you want to choose. As the deeper the tank, the more strong and powerful lighting fixture you'll need. So that's lighting taken care of. Let's go on to tip number 2, which is substrate. And this is incredibly important, as it's basically the food for your plants and your plants' roots. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep it simple. If you're really wanting to be successful and have nice, thick, lush growth in your low-tech planter tank, get yourself some aqua soil or some fluval stratum or something like that that's really high in nutrients and is a substrate made for planted aquariums. You can do it with normal pea gravel, but it is a little bit harder and you'll probably have to supplement that with root tabs. So I would prefer just to pay a little bit extra for that good planted tank substrate that's really going to set you off and get you on the right footing to begin with, and give you a far greater chance of success when you're first starting out. So tip number 3 is choosing the correct type of plants. And this is absolutely integral when you're first starting out. And the last thing that you want to do is choose those really hard to grow plants that just will not grow for you, and in turn just demotivate you and make you just want to get out of the planter tank hobby. So some good plants that you can see here: Crypts, Hygrophila, Dwarf Sage, S. repens, which can sometimes be a little bit tricky, but that were one of the last ones that I've tried in this tank, and it seems to be taking hold and really growing nicely. And then Anubias, Amazon swords are meant to be really easy as well. So all those kind of low-tech plants that don't need CO2, that don't necessarily need perfect parameters, they're the types of plants that you want to choose. And if you've got any questions about the kinds of plants that you can do in your aquarium, simply go on planter tank forums, ask your local fish store, go on h2oplants.com or any other reputable plant dealer, and they'll usually have a whole list of easy, medium and hard to grow plants, some of them requiring CO2, some of them not, and that'll give you an idea of what you can do in your low-tech tank. Today's fourth tip is liquid fertilization, and this isn't something that every low-tech planter tank needs, although it does help growth, so I'm going to run you through a few products that I think would help. And these can help with a certain plant deficiency. If your plants are turning yellow, then it's usually a nitrogen issue. If your plants are having a pale white growth when they're growing new leaves, then it's usually iron. And that's why a lot of companies have come out with specific products like Seachem Iron to help you combat that. There's also some all-in-one fertilizers like Aquarium Co-op's Easy Green, and I'm going to try that out soon. I've heard really good things about it, but that just basically adds every single compound that you could need and that would help plant growth into your aquarium, which hopefully leads you to have no element deficiencies, allowing your plants to grow nice and healthy. So the fifth and final tip for a beginner aquarium is filtration and maintenance. And although plants can help purify your water, as they basically feed off uneaten food and fish waste when they drop into the substrate, it doesn't totally eliminate the need for water changes. So personally, I would recommend doing between 30 and 50% once or twice every 2 weeks, but with this tank I currently do one water change every week just to combat evaporation. The changing of water from the tap, with the addition of a dechlorinator obviously, is also rumoured to help plant growth. And according to Tom Barr, who created the EI dosing method, there's numerous reasons for this, which could be a high concentration of CO2 in the tap water, the plant's exposure to air when you're doing those water changes, which then drives bacterial cycling, leading to that faster growth that a lot of hobbyists will see after performing those water changes. But whatever's the true reason, doesn't really matter. And all I know is that after a water change, I always see a drastic improvement in growth over the next 2 or 3 days. And then, in regard to the other part of this fifth tip, filtration, you want to make sure that there's plenty of flow moving through the tank. If you do this by just a hang on the back filter or a canister filter, or potentially a little wave maker, if you've got a big enough aquarium that just kind of keeps water circulating through the tank, then that will help. If there's any dead spots in the aquarium, I've noticed that algae buildup is a lot more prevalent and can take hold with those plants, especially your slow growing plants like your Anubias and any Cryptocorini species that you've got in your tank. So anyway guys, that's it for the video. I really hope you've learned something today, even if it's just how simple planter tanks can be. And if you've enjoyed the video, leave us a like, leave us a comment down below, let us know what you think to this tank. Let us know what you think to the 5 tips. Thank you so much for watching. We're moving into the house in a week's time. This channel's going to go to a whole new level. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you do. You won't regret it, I promise you. And we'll see you on the next one.